My family has often told me that I talk and mumble in my sleep. It's very embarrassing. I've woken myself up making loud moaning sounds, howling like a wolf, or mumbling incoherent stuff that just wakes me up. Most of the time the noises just come out without me dreaming. Last night I had a dream that my brother was trying to steal my dresser and I repetitively shouted no. In my sleep, I woke up when I shouted no. In real life it was so loud. I moved into a new place in June. No one had lived in it for over a year because it had broken pipes which my stepdad easily fixed. I haven't had any strange paranormal stuff happen until last month in October. It was around midnight. I was in a deep sleep but felt myself waking up for some reason. Without thinking I asked, "Who is it that's laying next to me?" My words scared the crap out of me. I groggily opened my eyes and turned my head. That's when I noticed a shadow figure shaped like a man laying on the bed next to me. The mattress lifted as the shadow got up and walked out of my room. I sleep with a night light, so if it was a real person then I would have seen his face. I became overwhelmingly tired, so I went back to bed. That's the creepiest thing that's happened with my sleep talking. I wrote it off as a sleep hallucination, but who knows. Hey guys, I've posted on here before, but I thought I might benefit from the opinions of others on this specific topic. So a couple of years ago, an ex-boyfriend and I moved into an apartment together. There were 3 apartments in the building, and the building was definitely an older one. My ex and I had the second-story apartment. Up until this point, I had never experienced sleep paralysis. A couple of months after we moved in, I started to get these weird dreams, and they always happened right before I would wake up in the morning. In my dreams, everything was dark. It was just like my apartment, but dark. And I remember trying to turn the lights on and nothing would get brighter. It would start with me panicking and waking up to me feeling like someone was after me. But I could never run at a normal pace. Everything always felt like I was moving underwater, and I was always fisting my hands and lashing them outwards, like I was trying to attack something. All I would be doing is running back and forth through the apartment, and it felt like I was in this in-between state because there were points when I realized I wasn't in reality, but I could not wake up. I felt stuck, and then about as quickly as it came, I would come out of it and jolt my eyes open, exposing the morning sunlight coming through my window, and everything would finally be bright. I remember once or twice trying to force my eyes to open and just barely they would, and for a brief moment I would see a dark shadow person looking at me in my doorway. I wouldn't think much of it, but it's only ever happened to me while I lived there. I haven't lived there in over a year now and haven't experienced anything like that since. I guess I just want your insights? Could it have been added stress? I was in school in a shitty relationship at that time, but I feel like I have been more stressed at other times in my life, especially through my breakup, but I still didn't experience this. I'm not complaining, it was terrifying, but I often wonder if it could have been anything spiritual. Thoughts and opinions are appreciated. So, backstory, I was young, maybe 6 or 7 at the time, so there is a small possibility that this was a dream, but such is unlikely, as I had never dreamed with that much detail before. I shared a room with my younger brother, who was around 3 at the time. We shared a bunk bed, with me on the top and him on the bottom. The top bed was thinner than the bottom, so the bottom jutted out a bit. On to the story. So I was laying awake at night, as usual, because it usually took me an hour or more to fall asleep. I turned over in the bed, now facing the center of the room, and I saw this thing. It was maybe a foot tall, and in a black robe that if the thing was not floating would be just barely dusting the ground. It was complaining wrapped around its body, complete with a hold that somewhat hung over its face. I could only see that in its face, which was pink and very wrinkled, and if memory serves correct, it had huge yellow eyes. I just started at it, and it stared at me, then, without moving its body, looked down with its eyes and floated down out of sight, over my brother. I just lay there terrified, but that was the last of it. Again, this was when I was young and my mind was constantly working, so it may have been a dream, but I believe this was real. I'm 24, a female. I had this weird encounter 2 months ago. I fell asleep watching a movie and had sleep paralysis around 3 a.m. I saw this very tall giant demon that walked up the stairs and walked towards me. I wanted to scream so bad but I couldn't. I called on God in my head and the demon left. Good thing my boyfriend was awake still. After it was gone and I can move again, I ran downstairs in fear to my boyfriend and told him what happened. Does anyone happens to know what type of demons are very tall like a giant? A few nights ago, I watched a few horror movies and was fine. But then I watched some videos from a location with a lot of confirmed hauntings and even possible demonic activity. I was fine while watching, though a bit creeped out because it was around Halloween. Then I went to bed, though, and I had one of the most disturbing and vivid nightmares ever. The subject matter was decidedly occult. I woke up almost crying, and I couldn't move. I saw a shadow figure move in my room, and then it was gone and I could move again. Before even looking at the clock, I got the feeling I knew exactly what time it was. Checked phone, and yep, 3:03 a.m. If that was it, I wouldn't feel the need to make this post. But the thing is, it has now happened 3 nights in a row. Identical nightmare. Wake up at 3 a.m., sleep paralysis for 3 minutes, shadow figure in same corner, and 3:03 a.m. time showing on clock, and that's even despite the clocks going back last night. Is this bad? Do I need to be concerned? Is there some action I can take to make this stop? So about 1.5 years ago I moved into an apartment and I have always gotten a weird vibe from it. When we were getting all of our stuff moved and I noticed that my dad has gotten me a mirror to go on my wall from a garage sale and I thought it looked good at the time. A month later I was having a hard time going to sleep, so I rolled over into my side to face the wall. I started to get this unnerving feeling someone was watching me, and then I heard a female's voice I had never heard before, so good night to me, right in my ear. I tried to scream but nothing came out. Then I woke up. This was the first event of sleep paralysis I had. Now onto when I was on a video call. It gets a little confusing later on, so far context. I think I have 2 demons. One is a girl who looks like something out of The Ring, I kid you not. The other is the shadow figure in my corner, which I think is male. So I was talking to one of my friends on a video call, and I had to go to the bathroom. Now this friend in question has never lied to me, especially about this kind of stuff. When I got back she told me that my bed was shaking and that she could hear whispers surrounding the found, almost circling it. And right before I opened my bedroom door, a woman in a white dress appeared in front of my phone. Actually, thinking back to this moment, I recently had a nightmare about that same girl she described. How did I not notice this earlier? Now about my other demon, the one that lives in my corner. Now this is where the mirror comes in. I feel like the shadow demon and my mirror are connected because the demon stands in the same corner the mirror is in, but maybe it's a coincidence. One of my friends was staying the night over at my house, and I told her that I had been seeing something in my corner. Now a key thing to note her, I just told her it was a shadow figure, but I never told her exactly what it looked like. So this specific shadow has a very noticeable feature: it has horns. So we go to bed, and when I woke up I saw my friend looked a little uncomfortable, so I asked her what was wrong, and she said she couldn't sleep well last night. And I asked her why, and she told me she had sleep paralysis. So me being the nosy person, I asked her what it was about. She said that she was in third person looking at the corner my demon was in, and the demon had its eyes locked specificity on me. She says that she was frozen in fear, and waited until it was light outside, so she shut her eyes, and went to sleep somehow, and woke back up in first person again. When she told me that, I'm pretty sure I turned super pale. Now for the second occurrence of sleep paralysis. Now this one was from a different friend from the first one. The friend that had the first sleep paralysis one was there though. So after a fun day at my sister's birthday party, me and my 2 friends went to sleep. Now not sure if this one is accurate or not, because she didn't tell me it that morning. 2 weeks later I told her about my friend's first experience with sleep paralysis, so she told me that she had sleep paralysis at my house too, and that she thought she told me about it even though she didn't. So in her sleep paralysis she was standing in the corner in front of my demons. She was also in third person. The shadow figure again was fixated on me, not even glancing at my friend. Then according to her, it walked up to the front of my bed and continued to stare at me while I was sleeping. And then she woke up back in first person, then nothing was there. The scary thing, she looked over at me in the position she saw me sleeping, and now was the same as she saw in her paralysis. Same with my other friend. There is so much more scary stuff I've gone through. My friends are actually a bit jealous of me because of how much paranormal stuff I attract, but these are the experiences I've had in this apartment. Lately, I was dreamed about someone I have crush on. Then, someone or something pull her into the darkness. I chasing her to get her over. But suddenly, I was filling to the abyss dream. At first, I saw nothing, then pitch black room. Then, my crush showed himself out of nowhere. He said, "Never find me or she will pull you to there." I was so confused what he said. Then he said it again while looking at me. His face was full of blood, and her eyes is like on the right side is full black with white halo, and the left side is full red with black pentagram. His eyes is glowing like he's dying from the darkness. There's someone right behind him and push him into the lava pool right after the pool revealed. After that, there's, I'd say, a ghost tapping on my shoulder and said leave before it hurt worse. But I don't know how cause I've been stuck between dream and awake. But the weird thing if the ghost pulled my hand and ran with him the shining door. I don't know where it brings me cause I'm awake before I go into the door. I really sweating and my heart is pounding so hard cause I was too afraid to look at anything. It was at right time on 3:33 a.m. So I went to night prayer since I am Muslim and night pray to my God. I went back to sleep. I felt like someone is watching me from somewhere I can't see. Then I moved house and no more things happened.
Yesterday I posted something on here about the weird people who have been following me around, and wondered if it might have something to do with the dreams I've had all my life about being abducted by alien spirits, monsters, demons or whatever. Last night I had another dream, and it was the most horrible nightmare I've ever had. I was in bed with my wife, and I woke up in the middle of the night. Totally dark, totally quiet. I tried to turn over and go back to sleep, but I couldn't move. I was totally paralyzed. I've had sleep paralysis before, so I knew what it was, but it's still terrifying. Then 2 or 3 figures entered the room. I say figures because I couldn't see them very well, it was totally dark, just make out their outline. Then they stood around my bed and looked at me and I saw their eyes reflect light, just like the people who have been following me, and I just felt this incredible sense of evil. I tried to pray, but of course I couldn't move, and one of them said stop it, very harsh, very cruel. Then he or she said we have the right to do this, and suddenly it started getting really bright and really cold. It was so bright I had to squeeze my eyes closed, and it was so cold that it felt like I was in an ice bath. I was trembling with cold and fear, and squeezing my eyes against the light, and I heard the person say again we have the right to do this, and then I woke up. But I woke up on the couch in the living room, not in my bed, and I've never sleepwalked before. Also I was super cold. My skin felt like ice. I ran back into the bedroom and got under the covers and just shivered until I warmed up again. You guys, I'm still kind of keyed up by this nightmare. I'm sitting here in the office typing this and my hands are trembling. What's going on? I overheard my brother say you're sleep talking, and that's when I realized that I was stuck between wakefulness and sleep. I was having a dream that I was stuck in a car rolling backwards down a hill in heavy rain, and I couldn't get out. But at the same time I was also fully aware of a dark humanoid figure standing by the doorway. It began getting stranger when I said help me, but I clearly recall saying it and hearing myself say it in another voice that wasn't mine, and I continued to feel paralyzed. I remember he said, do you want me to wake you up? And like magic, I snapped out of it and woke up to a dark room and a startled brother. He turned the light on his phone, blinding me, and he said, that was creepy. This was about a few years ago when I shared my room with my 70-year-old grandma who was having her house remodeled. My brother later told me he heard me low growling and gurgling before he had told me that I was sleep talking and I was muttering things he didn't completely understand. It happened yesterday, right after I took celestamine for my allergies, cold and cough. I slept in my belly with my arms as my head's cushion. I didn't notice I was falling asleep, then I heard a rubbing sound. As if someone was rubbing a bottom of an empty tin can with a long ass finger. It made a circular motion sound that of course freaked me out, forcing myself to wake up from a conscious dream. It costs hard because my body wouldn't move and the sound just gets creepier and creepier. Until finally, I woke up and went back to sleep in the other room where my cousin and sister are, so I won't be alone, in case I get sleep paralysis again.